Hello, welcome to Line War. Today we have Vasvas, who is blue, starting right next to Valithor2, who is up here. Valithor2 is setting up his lines before his structures, and Vasvas is definitely going for structures first. He's got his 3 barracks and a factory that's producing artillery, and he's got another barracks set up here, which is going to be helping him with expanding. He's trying to avoid Valithor2 at this point. He's just trying to claim the territory instead for now. Whereas Valithor2 can see the enemy and he's got a ton of infantry set up right now. And these are commandos. They're not normal infantry. So these are going to be barracks all producing commandos. They're going to be trying to sneak around the enemy by the looks of things. But Valithor2 is, in some respects, almost completely ignoring the enemy. Just focused mostly on expanding. He's got a lot of lines to expand, and he's just going to pretty much watch the enemy for a bit. You can see some fortifications setting up here. Going to try and walk through them over there, which Vas does have a barracks set up here. That is really close to the enemy. But he is going to try and defend it in the mountains, which will give him a defensive buff. So we'll see how that works out for him. Valithor is looking like he's retreating there on haste, so he's going to be trying to escape there really quickly. And these barracks are all set up now. He's got the commandos on the move. They are going this way, and this one's producing commandos as well. I assume they're all going to be producing commandos here. That is a regular infantry unit to start, so I think he's got one producing regular infantry. Actually, they're switching between them both, so they're producing infantry and commandos. So the infantry are going to follow these paths, while the commandos are going to follow this main path here. Until now, which he's just changed. There we go, he's moving them out a bit further at the back. So Valithor retreated here, and it looks like Vasvas is going to be just trying to chase them right now. He's got one unit running for his life, and he has just given up running there, so he's going to be trying to push through. And he's set up a line here, so I think Valithor is just trying to move his units to slow down the enemy here. He's got his units coming back up here to stop these infantry from progressing too far forward. Whereas Vas is bringing his units up here to try and expand and take over as much territory as he can. Meanwhile, Vas does have control over this section of the map, which is quite a large portion. It's just going to take him a while to get through it all. And now Vas is on the retreat. Neither player willing to commit to an engagement here. But I am interested in watching these commandos. They are still taking territory, and I'm not sure commandos should be doing that because they're going to spread out a bit too far. Vas can't see those commandos though, so that... There we go. I say that and one appears. So Vas is probably aware of these commandos right now, and he's definitely going to have to do something about it. The only difference is Vas is going to be building some artillery, and has a large bulky force right here who's heading straight for the forest that Valithor is in. There we go, but I don't think those commandos are going to get through there. And it looks like Valithor is going to commit to a defense here. He's going to build up some units. And he's even bringing some units back. And he does have a factory being built right now. He's got artillery that he's planning to build, and they're going to come in this way. And he's trying to sneak his units off this way. I'm not sure if he's going to end up leaving himself a bit vulnerable there if he does that. Or if he's just trying to do it so he engages in a line. No, he's definitely not. He's trying to rush into the enemy's structures there. So he's trying to get out of there really fast and try to defend with what ends up being left there. Maybe he's trying to get Vas to retreat and follow these units, but Vas can see the structures and he's going to target those very specifically. He's just going to let these units run away. So this large group is going to probably take down Valithor's base there if he lets him. Unless... No, he's going to be trying to bring him back in. The retreat didn't work, so he's going to be just trying to put his units straight into the fight now. From the side, which is going to take out the artillery, which was a pretty good move in the long run. He does have some commandos over here that are still alive, and they are going to be taking out those. And because all the units are grouped up here, those commandos may get the chance to just sneak into the base. And it looks like this large force has been taken out. He's on haste, mostly because of the artillery. He's trying to get there as fast as he can, I think. Or he's just going to try and get as many units firing at once. But the haste will reduce the health of these units over time. It looks like the tactic has worked out well for Valithor there. Trying to bring his units in around the side. Which I wasn't expecting him to do, but he was able to get round and hit those artillery. But unfortunately, actually, these units here have ran too thin now. But it has allowed these units to destroy the front line. And now they're, in some respects, coming in from behind what the assault was doing over here. So these infantry are going to take out the artillery now, and as much as he can, the infantry. And I think, with the amount of production you've got here, this attack is pretty much over right now. And I'm not sure if it would be wise to try and have these on the blue command as arrows to try and get into the base as quick as possible and do as much damage with those commandos as you can. Let's see what Vasvas is planning to do now that he's lost that engagement there. He has set up a defense here, so he's got something to fall back on. And over here, he's trying to set up a line over here, but I probably would try and bring that back so you can set up the line before the units. So Valithor has built a barracks over here as well, so he's got some extra production. I'm assuming that's going to be for commandos. Try and help use this line over here. But Valithor's expanse has been doing really well. And right now they seem fairly evenly matched, at a bit of a stalemate in the middle here. And we have 500 eco a minute from Valithor, and Vas currently has 476. So Valithor is doing much better in economy. But Vas is trying to take over this town, and by the looks of it, he's got his units trying to get to this location here, so he wants a trade route set up. Okay, so Valithor has taken out most of the infantry here. There's a couple of artillery coming in, but he has his own artillery to help deal with that. And his units are still quite successfully expanding down there. There we go, these commandos are being used to completely capture territory as well. So he's got one that's going to try and stray off this way, but it doesn't look like he wants to. I think he's just going to carry on and ignore this line completely. It doesn't matter too much, they will cross that path either way, if he just decides to join this line here. But Valithor is not going to be too worried about the enemy's main location. So far it looks like he just wants to claim this territory back. And it looks like Vas is on the retreat. He's trying to set up a new line here. And with some fortifications. Over here, it looks like the commandos have been spotted, or at least... Yep, there we go, they've been spotted, so... Just not in the right time, so they're getting killed as soon as they walk in towards these commandos. Which must be concerning Vas at this point. As they get closer and closer, and there is pretty much nothing standing in their way. He has spotted some units coming in this way. He's going to bring some units down over here. See what he can do about these commandos. As he gets closer to the base, the accumulative vision from Vas's units are revealing these commandos over here. Let's see what Valithor's planning to do. He's trying to go through the mountain here to take out some of the structures, whilst taking the territory along the way. The commandos over here probably won't survive in the long run, but they might be able to get some damage in or distraction done. As these units move into position. So he is trying to go through this way, and doing that will exploit the opening there. Valithor's trying to bring his artillery around even further across. But these infantry are on haste. It looks like he's going to try and use the infantry to invade this area, and get around these artillery units. Unfortunately, they do seem to be going down pretty fast, but there is a lot of infantry here, and they might just be able to do that, as Vas's infantry are trying to deal with the commando issue down here. Valithor's moving into strikers now. That's what he's going to switch into. However, Vas does already have SAM units on the ground, so Vas is predicting that pretty nicely. We do lose a barracks over here, so Valithor is getting his units in there. Quite nice. And he has snuck around those fortifications while the infantry were distracted. The artillery moving in a straight line now towards here to try and take out the artillery that the infantry are attacking. But they're also going to be focused on trying to capture territory, but in this direct location it's already occupied, so they're not going to be able to do that until they take out these units. However, some have been distracted by this location. But it looks like instead of trying to defend himself, Vas is sending his units straight towards this location. He's found the barracks. Valithor is setting up a fortification with a single commando, trying to hold that line, which might be quite effective, especially as they're coming in one at a time. Or at least in this location they are. They are going to come around this way for them. And there you go, the commando is trying to shoot the infantry there. There's another commando moving in. He'll have to set up his fortifications before he can do much else. Actually, he can't even get there, so it looks like these infantry are going to try and overwhelm them, and they are going to potentially be quite successful at that. The strikers are now moving in to try and help defend this location, as the infantry are rushing in over this base. And I think at this point, I'd want the artillery moving in a bit faster, so I'd have these on arrow commands. And then I'd probably follow them up with some other commands afterwards and switch them into flags once I've taken out a lot of the structures here. Just to get the main bulk of units in there. But if I'm to be honest, Valithor is probably a much better player than me. So I'm not going to question his decision on that. Maybe he has a plan for that or a reason. There we go. So Vas has pushed his defense back. And he is now just stuck in this choke point right now. He does have a group of units out here though. He's going to go for that airfield next, I would assume. I know he can see it. And that's going to be a serious problem for Valithor if he does manage to take that out. That's a lot of investment there with money with the 2 strikers, another one being produced. And does Valithor have energy production? He does, just up here, which is good. And he's nearly taking control over all the land that he can. After which he'll just have to focus on taking out the enemy. He's noticed that the fortifications are lining up in one direction towards him. So Valithor is not going to worry too much about that, and he's going to send his units right around the side and try and take out the base from behind the fortifications. Vas is doing everything he can to take out that airfield, and I think he's actually going to do it. At the same time, he hasn't seemed to respond to these units here. The airfield does go down, and those infantry are going to be trying to move in this direction around to the back of this forest. I don't think those strikers have anywhere they can land right now. So I think they're just going to fly off and explode eventually. There we go. Yeah, one went down. The other one's gone down as well. So Vas did take out quite a bit there. It looks like Valithor doesn't want to commit to an engagement here. He's going to bring his units back in this direction. Have a quick look at their economy again. So 750 for Valithor2, and Vasvas has 660. So Valithor is definitely ahead when it comes to economy. And it looks like Vas is trying to sort out some bombers, some really long-range bombers over here. And that might be what his surprise attack would be later on. And I am surprised to see that he's got this area and hasn't set up that trade route yet. I was expecting to see that a bit faster, to be honest. But he might be struggling with his economy. There you go, those infantry are coming in this way, but it looks like Valithor has spotted them and will be responding to that accordingly. At the same time, Valithor is building up a large group of units here to take on Vas over there, which Vas is actually going to try and attack with this group of units, backed up by some units from over here as well. But I think Valithor has the advantage here, and he will manage to take him out if Valithor responds and decides to go on the offense as well. There we go. There's the line. He's going to go into the offense now. I think Vas is making a bad decision, and Valithor is going to exploit that. So Vas did try to get into the back of the base of Valithor, and it looks like he wanted to target that energy well, but just hasn't been able to get there. The infantry from Valithor has blocked him off, and the artillery are going to shoot over them. Over here, Vas is on the retreat now. He doesn't think he can commit to that fight any longer, so he's going to pull back. And I reckon Valithor is probably just going to commit to that chase now. There is a lot of defense there, but I think Valithor might be able to overwhelm it. Especially as the forces are split in two right now. But even down here, there's free artillery against quite a few infantry, so I think Valithor can hold out a bit longer there. And instead of just one airfield now, it looks like Valithor's going for two airfields. See what he can do about that. And we've got to remember that Vas is building up his bombers over here. We'll have to see what he does with that. And at the minute, I don't see any more action. He's building another town over here. But at this point, it looks like Vasvas has committed to the offense here once again. And Valithor's left a few units there to commit to the fight, but he's bringing most of his units round to this side. And is trying to commit to the weakest point possible. He's trying to find it, and I've just spotted these sea units. So right now, Valithor has finished expanding across the ocean. His next objective is to find some new land. And Valithor is going to sneak across the entirety of the map and come in to this location here to try and expand behind Vas. Let's see how far Vas has got there. Vas hasn't managed to reach this location yet. So Vas has managed to spot a boat there. If he had the chance to see that, then that's his pretty much only opportunity to see it as it goes by. It looks like he's trying to set up his trade route now. Vas has the cash to set up the docks as soon as this is ready and constructed. But he's going to have to hold out for just a little bit longer, as Valithor is setting up fortifications across this forest here. And as far as I can tell, Valithor is setting up artillery only in this defensive line with a group of infantry behind them, which is probably a really good setup to do there, so he can send the infantry out there to be the meat shield and hold off any attackers that try to rush in. At the same time, the strategic bombers are flying over the army here, trying to take out some units as they go. What are they actually doing? They're not taking out the units. They are focused on the structures. These bombers are trying to take out the production. And I don't know what Valithor plans to do here. He's going into SAM right now. He's got some SAM units, and he's going to be trying to place them here. He's got helicopters coming out. So that's what he's planning to do here. It's not strikers anymore. He's going for helicopters, which do have anti-air. They're not great at it, but they're not bad either. Valithor does lose one of his production structures. Those bombers have to return, and the helicopters will arrive just a bit late. But they'll be ready for the next time they come in for an attack. So Valithor is also building a navy yard over here, which I assume Vas has seen. But that will allow him to capture the island here, and probably over here, which I think this will be his first objective. The artillery and infantry here are doing a very good job at holding off all the enemies that come through there, and they're being shot at from this side from the line of artillery there, as both forces try to merge together. It looks like Vas is trying to take out this structure next. He sees that as one of the biggest threats. As I think I would too, to be fair. There we go, he's got his docks coming up now. As soon as that's built, he will be having his trade route up, and that'll give Vas an extreme boost in economy. And Vas has spotted a weak point in air units here, but I don't think he's set up the command correctly. But we do have 4 bombers now trying to take out this shipyard here. But another idea would be, instead of having these target commands, just set a circle command here as they bomb everything around it. But it looks like Valithor is bringing the SAM units in, and they will start taking a lot of damage from these SAM units. But at the minute there's only 1, so I'm not too worried that these bombers are going to go down anytime soon. Over in this side, both forces here are about to merge at the same point of these fortifications. So the infantry here are going to rush through, and these artillery are going to come in through the sides. And those boats are coming through now. So you can see that there's a few boats going on there. Vas does see them, I think, and he's set up a line there to try and scout that area. But I think he's used the wrong line there. Those aircraft probably won't target a long line across it. I could be wrong. Vasvas is trying to expand down this area, and just at the same time Valithor has set up some barracks over here to try and sneak in through the back. Valithor does manage to get a boat made just in time, so he will be able to maneuver his transports around there. And these units are converging together as they attack this fortification here. The bombers are coming over, and I think he might need the bombers on the front line soon. So Vas has just returned. Why has he just returned? What's he planning to do? I think he's just... Oh, he's destroyed the structure. That's why he's returning. There we go. The trade route's set up now, so I kind of want to see the economy. It probably won't be affected just yet, which is why I want to check it. So we got 1,119. And... yeah, we got 0 from trade right now, so see how that affects it later on. We got 900 from Valithor. So it looks like Vas is ahead. If I remember correctly, that was above 1,000, wasn't it? Yeah, 1,100. So Vas is much further ahead in economy than Valithor. It looks like Valithor's going for the landing here. Yeah, Valithor's expanding in through the south there. And he's spotted this through the south, through the shroud. And Vas is on that straight away. He's got a defensive line set up here, just to try and protect his eco. But Valithor is going to try to exploit that or use this as a scout. And unfortunately, the front line from Valithor is going to go down. He does still have some units to come in and back it up, but unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. There you go. So Valithor set up this island first, and then it's going for this area second. Over here, there's a fair amount of units converging here. Trying to take out the barracks next, I assume. And I would have thought that he's going to try and take out this trade route, to be fair. Don't want to miss any action over here, so we've got some units coming in. I don't know if Vas has seen what's going on there. He probably has. He's got quite good vision over here, and he's got 2 groups of units trying to come in against Valithor over there. And Valithor's army behind the enemy lines is trying to push through, but there is quite a bit of resistance there in relation to what Valithor has brought with him as well. Over here he's trying to bring in the helicopters to weaken the defense, as his frontline army was thinned out far too much. So these transports are pretty much just going to cross. It looks like those those bombers across there are going to be scouting out through this area. I was wrong. It looks like they will try and take over this line. So Vas has pretty much carved a defensive line this way and has got his units plowing through the middle of it. Is pretty good protection, to be fair, and has successfully staved off the attack from Valithor at his main base. And now he does have some trade ships pretty much built, so they will soon be increasing his economy. There we go, we've got one going out. Does that instantly increase it? Yes, it does. 66. I think each boat is worth 33 then, so we've got 2 boats there. I could be wrong, I'm not sure exactly how the trade routes work. There you go, the transports here are getting bombed by these bombers going across. And they are taking out those boats. So it looks like Valithor is having a tough time right now. And is trying to collect as much territory as he can to increase his own eco. He doesn't really have many other options when it comes to economy. It's pretty much just what he's got so far. Even on this island here, he doesn't seem to have much. And the island over here does have a city on it, but it's quite a risky location, to be fair. So, Vas is going a bit offensive right now. He's got a lot of units moving into that location, and he can see the units trying to sneak around there. But does Valithor still have control over in this location? He does. But Vas has also invested some cash over here to increase his production. What is Valithor's production like over there? So he's got 4 barracks and a factory. And I think that'll be more than enough to take out Vas. Unless Vas does something about the production over here as well. Looks like Valithor's on the retreat. He's going to build up his units. Over here, I think Valithor is going to take over this area really fast. And that will hit the economy of Vas really hard, unfortunately for him. So, I think that Vas really has to try and take over control of this location as fast as he can. But Vas is running out of energy. What is using his energy? It looks like he's got his bombers out at a constant rate, and that's what's pretty much using his energy. And we do have the energy well here being attacked by those bombers, but they're going to end up retreating very soon. Those bombers must take up a lot of energy, to be fair, to be used. There you go, they're coming straight back right now. And Vas is setting up one of these sort of lines, so they make a formation, and he's going to try and push forward with that, I would have thought. But those helicopters are going to thin out the lines over here, because we don't see much anti-air. Not on the front lines. We've got some sneaking around over here to try and get to the airfields. But there's a lot more SAM over here trying to take out those SAM units. It is SAM versus SAM over here, and artillery versus artillery. But the helicopters are also supporting, which is kind of unfortunate as he sent the SAM this way, because the helicopters are all going that way. But I can see what he was thinking. He wanted to take them out while they were on the platforms. Yes, the helicopters are going to be able to support this fight, and I don't think Valithor's got enough units here, but they're both being reinforced. And Vas has a lot of units coming in. There's a lot of production over here in general. I'm waiting for another one of these boats to be produced to see if I can work out how much it's going to be. And unfortunately, Vas has lost this section down here, so Valithor will be taking control over the other side of this map for a little while at least. Which means he has extra use of economy if he so wishes to choose to do so. But he can also take economy away, and he doesn't plan to stop right now. He's going to be moving as fast as he can. And Vas almost has no vision over here, but does plan to send some units down that way just to check it out. Back over here, the strategic bombers are moving out. He's got an airstrip there for some extra ones. And he's going to be trying to bring them around like that. He's got a big U-bend here. And that will give him good vision over there. But I don't think Valithor's bringing in any units anymore. Does still have transport boats there, but they're not really doing anything right now. He's just going to be building up some missile ships to try and take out those bombers that keep trying to look for those transport boats. Over here, he's got another couple of barracks that are building up some units, trying to get through anywhere else in the map to take any economy away from Vas. And if we have a look at the economy, Valithor has 1,200 almost, and Vas is losing some, but he's at 1,300, and that is mostly through trade. And he's got 132 through trade, so does he have more ships, or is that just how it's happened? I think it's just how it's happening. There he goes, but he's got another town set up there. But unfortunately for Vas, he's losing territory up here, which is going to affect his economy. As these units come down this way, going to have the same effect, and down here their territory are being grabbed really fast by Valithor. So Vas is going down and down as time goes on if he can't take over those places at the backs of his base. Already there's a commando at this town to try and take it out. And he's got the missile ships moving in over here to try and help increase any damage at the main location of his base. And I have noticed that we've got interceptors on one of these airfields from Valithor. I assume that's just to deal with the strategic bombers if they come in to try and attack any of the structures. Otherwise, it looks like Valithor is regaining control in this section of the map. And we'll be able to make another push back very soon. So from Vas's point of view, he's still got his defenses set up. And he's still trying to figure out what's going on his main base down here. He's lost this town. And I think something went down there. I didn't quite catch that. And it looks like he's losing vision over here, so there's less units, and those helicopters are moving in really close to the front lines, trying to take out those fortifications, which are barely defended from air units. They've got a couple of SAM units around, but they're just out of range. You definitely need some more SAM units in this area. And the strategic bombers have been sent up this way to try and take out anything they find over here, and just to get good vision over what's there. He wants to see if he can take it out before it becomes too much of a problem, and getting those bombers in there will probably help with the production issue. But the commandos are sneaking down, trying to find any key targets, and if they destroy this town, the stocks will go down too. But I think Vas is safe in that location. Yeah, this front line here is being supported heavily by the helicopters, but the SAM units have moved in. They will be trying to take out some of these helicopters, but the helicopters will prioritize those SAMs on the ground. But there just isn't enough helicopters to do much. There isn't that much SAM units either, so it's kind of just balancing that out. As soon as they get in there, though, they will start taking out those helicopters pretty well. The C units have come in, these missile ships, and have managed to sneak a kill on one of these structures, which is pretty awesome to see, that Valithor is trying to be as innovative as possible. Not that I can say that word very well, apparently. You know, so Vas does have his frontline units. He's trying to bring back into a nice formation, but he's just not got quite enough there to make the formation work for him. But he's definitely trying to use these bombers as best to his ability as possible. He's pretty much got them protecting this line here. Over down here, we've got a large force moving through. As Valithor takes control over this area, he's even managed to build another navy yard to transport some units across to take over this island here from back as well. these infantry are literally just going to plow through these artillery units and infantry that are there. And I want to have a look at the economy now. So we've got 1,300, so that's still doing alright for Valithor. But for Vas, it's pretty much flipped around. Vas is now on 1,100, and he was doing alright before. Vas's idea against the Navy units, though, is to go for submarines. But that sub-pen is pretty close to where those units are coming in from, so I don't think it's going to survive much longer. Having this line here means the units are coming over to try and help protect this area, but he's losing some units on this fortification line. Have a look up here. Those bombers have taken out one of the structures over here. There's only 2 left, and both of them are quite badly damaged. And from Valithor's perspective up there, he does still have commandos over there. And he's trying to sneak them out, but they do keep going into this fortification. What Valithor is trying to manage right now, it's not surprising that he's got at least one mistake where they're just walking through the fortifications. But I don't really think there's much else he can do about that without support from any air units from down here. His sea units are on the move again. He spotted the navy yard, the sub-pen, sorry, and he's got his missile ships on the way there. They have spotted the submarines, but Vas is pretty much out of energy at this point, and his submarine's not going to move much longer. But they did manage to take out one of those missile ships. Vas is trying to set up a defensive fortification there, but these units are probably just going to try and overpower that location as fast as they can. Valithor2 should still have this area, but he does still have the area, but he has lost his barracks to those bombers. But he doesn't mind, because he's going to be moving in some units over here to try and take the back of Vas. There we go, he nearly has this whole island to himself as well now. And there is this island here. I wonder if he tries to take that. Nonetheless, he does have the territory there. Does Vas notice this? He may do, but probably not so much. He's just probably focused on other things right now. Like this front line here, which is taking out his fortification from range, so most of these units are going to go down for nothing. And the helicopters are also being able to take out a lot for free, because there isn't that many SAM units. There's one coming in over here. Looks like Vas lost his SAM earlier on, but it looks like he has taken out this area here, and he is going to be trying to reclaim that, which is a small victory for Vas. He has stopped Valithor in one location. Setting up the defensive line here was a very good idea, though, because he's got this nice little curve where most of these artillery are going to have these infantry running into a lot of their lines of fire at once, and being just in this thin gap here where the infantry have to move through, only a smaller amount of infantry can move through it. So he is increasing his effectiveness there. That is a very good defensive setup from Vas. And Valithor, I wonder how many units he's got left to go in there. Not that much. And unfortunately, Valithor hasn't managed to take out many of the artillery here, but he does have a large group at the front line now. Oh, and those bombers, there's so many of them, they're probably going to quite easily take out these infantry. But Valithor doesn't mind if he can't get through here, because he's already got his boats moving up through here instead. He's spotted the trade route. He's got some boats going to go over that way to try and take out the trade route and take the territories away. Over in this location, all air units have been called to these locations by the looks of it. We've got some interceptors there, because I think Valithor was predicting the bombers to come this way, so he wanted his interceptors to be there when they showed up. But at this rate, it looks like Valithor's artillery will break through this area eventually, especially if they keep getting reinforced from over there. And those bombers are doing a lot of damage in that location. Let's have a look how many is there. They are doing some quite cool runs over there, and it looks like Vas is willing to push through his units again to try and take over this territory. But it's quite possible Vas does not spot this over here just yet. He doesn't seem to have any units moving that way, or any defences set up. So Vas has taken over this area. He's confident he can keep it. Now he's got a town being set up here. Whereas over here, it looks like Vas is struggling. Let's have a look. He's got 1,100 still. He's doing pretty well there. Whereas Valithor is 1,400. Valithor is doing very good at increasing his economy. But unfortunately, we've reached the end of the match. I would assume that Valithor has managed to take control over this match, leaving Vas just this small section of the map here to himself. Anyway, there are 2 videos on screen right now. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe and I'll see you in one of those videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.